Welcome to the Rise of Skywalker movie breakdown and review. There's a lot to cover in this film, so let's get into it. Rise of Skywalker picks up a year after The Last Jedi, and Emperor Palpatine has returned from the grave, putting forth a message to the galaxy about his final order. Leia Organa sends out her agents to find information on Palpatine's whereabouts as Supreme Leader Kylo Ren looks to find him as well, to kill so he doesn't threaten his rule. Ren locates a Sith Wayfinder, one of only two in the galaxy, which leads him to Exegol, the old Sith planet Palpatine is on. He heads there and learns from Palpatine himself that he has been manipulating the boy from the start, and he was every voice he ever heard in his head, including Vader's and Snoke, whom Palpatine had manufactured as clones. Kylo intends to kill Palpatine, but he offers the boy a chance to rule over the Final Order, which is a huge fleet of Star Destroyers with Death Star tech. The only thing Kylo needs to do is to kill Rey. Finn and Poe, meanwhile, have been searching for the information on Palpatine, locating a contact who gives them info from a First Order spy. After getting the info and lightspeed skipping to safety, they head back to the Resistance base. At the base, Rey has been training under Leia as a Jedi, trying to tap into the force of all of the Jedi from the past, but can't get through to them. While running a training course, she becomes angered after connecting with Kylo Ren briefly, letting her anger take over and resulting in BB-8 getting damaged. Finn and Poe arrive back and deliver the information, learning of Exegol, but the planet is impossible to reach, thanks to gravity wells and black holes and the such. But Rey remembers that Luke was searching for the planet as well, and the Wayfinder, something he detailed in one of the books she took from Ahch-To. Luke never found the Wayfinder as its trail went cold on Pasaana, so Rey, along with Finn, Poe, Chewie, 3PO and BB-8 head to the planet, which is holding a giant festival. After being gifted a necklace by one of the local children, Rey connects with Kylo, who has his helmet rebuilt by a Sith alchemist. He manages to snatch the necklace from Rey's neck, and having his people scan it, learns it's from Pasaana, so he and the Knights of Ren head to the world. The heroes are soon met by a masked man who is later revealed to be Lando Calrissian, who tells them all that Luke and him came to the planet years earlier to look for the Wayfinder, running into Ochi, a Sith Jedi hunter type of person, but they never found the device. Lando points them in the direction of Ochi's ship, but takes his leave, saying his fighting days are behind him. The heroes are caught by the First Order, and after a brief skiff chase, lose them, but become trapped in quicksand, falling into mysterious tunnels where they learn Ochi met his end. On the alien's body, they find a Sith dagger, something Rey finds familiar when touching it. 3PO can translate the markings on it, but laws in his system prevent him from saying what it is. The heroes know they need a hacker to unlock his protocols, and Poe knows of one on Kijimi. As they leave, they are attacked by a sand snake, which has been injured. Rey calms the creature and uses a Force heal ability on it, sacrificing a small part of her life force to heal it, letting it free them. Since the Falcon was impounded by the troopers back at the parades, the heroes use Ochi's ship to escape, but as they are booting it up, Rey senses Kylo Ren is near, disappearing into the desert. Chewie goes after her and is captured by the Knights of Ren as Rey battles Kylo, cutting his TIE fighter up as he tries to run her down. She sees Chewie being taken off-world in a transport and tries to pull the transport down, but Kylo pulls on it as well, causing her to become angered, and after tapping briefly into the dark side, shoots lightning from her hand, blowing up the transport and killing Chewbacca. Shocked at the actions of Rey, the heroes all escape Pasaana, hiding out in an asteroid field where Rey tries to reconcile with what she has just done. BB-8 finds Dio on the ship and reactivates the little droid, finding him to be the mistreated servant of Ochi. The heroes head to Kijimi, and after dodging patrols, running to Zori Bliss, an old flamin' partner of Poe from his spice smuggling days before the Resistance. After a tense standoff, she agrees to help them, taking them to see Babu Frick, who can reset 3PO's mind locks and allow him to say the text on the Sith dagger, but in doing so will wipe his memory. Knowing what's at stake, 3PO does it, revealing that the Wayfinder is on Endor. Arriving at Endor, the Falcon crashes onto the planet. The heroes find the wreckage of the Death Star too, and using a special device in the dagger, discover where in the wreckage the Wayfinder Wayfinder is. They're soon met by Zhana and her people, who, while helping fix the Falcon, are revealed to be ex-First Order stormtroopers, having rebelled against their commanders and took a ship, crashing it on Endor and living off the land. With only hours until Palpatine's fleet is ready to leave Exegol, Rey goes into the Death Star alone, climbing into the Emperor's throne room and finding the Wayfinder, but she is confronted by a vision of her dark self, who has become Empress. The vision attacks her, but she escapes, finding that Kylo Ren has also made his way to the world, taking the Wayfinder and destroying it. The two fight across the wreckage of the Death Star, with Rey getting more and more angered by Ren. Leia meanwhile begins to get weak, using her final moments of life to reach out to her son. Rey and Kylo feel Leia die as Rey stabs Kylo in the chest. As Ren lay dying, Rey realizes what she has done, using her Force heal ability to heal Ren, telling him that he is still good, and that she wanted to join him. Realizing what she is now as a Palpatine, she takes Ren's fighter and flees the planet, leaving behind her friends. Kylo meanwhile ponders what happened and is visited by the memory of his father Han Solo, who tells him that Ben Solo is in there and that Kylo Ren was killed when Rey stabbed him. Ben believes him, casting his Sith lightsaber into the Endor waves. Finn, Poe and Chewie return to the Resistance base, learning that Leia has died. BB-8 reveals that Dio has information on Exegol and the Sith fleet because Ochi was headed there with a little girl, but the Resistance still cannot plot a course to the planet. Rey meanwhile returns to Ahch-To, burning Kylo's fighter to maroon herself on the island just like Luke did. She throws the lightsaber into the burning wreckage, but it is caught by Luke's Force ghost. Luke tells her that he was wrong to hide from his failures, and it's the destiny of a Jedi to face fear. Luke gets Rey to retrieve another lightsaber that was on the island, Leia's, who gave it to Luke after she refused to be a Jedi, seeing what her son could become. With a newfound resolve, Rey wants to face the Emperor, finding that Kylo's tire had the other Wayfinder in it the whole time. Taking it, she is given Luke's old X-Wing, which raises from the depths of the ocean. Piloting the old ship, she heads to Exegol. R2 meanwhile resets 3PO's mind back to normal with a backup he had in his own systems. Also learning that Luke's old X-Wing is transmitting again. He alerts Poe, and Poe learns that it's Rey in Red 5, who is now tracing a path through the nebulas for the Resistance to follow to Exegol. After a pep talk from the arriving Lando, General Poe Dameron and General Finn lead the small Resistance fleet to Exegol as Lando and Chewie head out in the Falcon to look for Resistance fighters. Rey reaches Exegol in the X-Wing, going into the pyramid and finding Palpatine's throne, along with thousands of his acolytes. Palpatine appears, confirming to Rey she is a Palpatine, and he doesn't want to kill her since she is to be Empress. He wants her to strike him down, and then his life force, along with all of that of the Sith, will enter her, allowing Palpatine to rule the galaxy again. However, if she doesn't strike him down, all her friends will die. While she confronts Palpatine, Poe leads a small fleet through to Exegol, while Lando and the Falcon go for reinforcements. Poe makes it through and they confront the Final Order, looking to take out a comm tower so the fleet cannot maneuver out of the atmosphere of the stormy planet. The Resistance is utterly trashed, and at the final moment, Lando and his huge fleet of Resistance sympathizers arrive, helping turn the tide of the battle as Ben Solo also arrives, making his way into the pyramid, where he's confronted by the Knights of Ren, mercilessly beaten by his former comrades. Rey refuses to kill Palpatine, but soon realizes if she doesn't, her friends will all perish. She readies her saber, but uses the Force bond between her and Ben to give the saber to him, which he uses to utterly destroy the Knights of Ren and join Rey in the throne room to confront the Emperor. Palpatine learns that they are a Force dyad, sucking the Force energy from them and becoming whole again, albeit his puffy monster face. Taking the throne, he fires lightning into the sky, disabling the Resistance ships. Ben manages to get up, but for what his grandfather did to Palpatine on the Death Star, the Emperor pushes him into a pit. Rey meanwhile reawakens, calming herself and connecting to all of the Jedi, letting their power flow through her. Using her saber, she blocks Palpatine's lightning, advancing on him before picking up Luke's saber, blocking more of the lightning and causing a force pulse that blows the power back into Palpatine, obliterating him and the Sith once and for all. Because of this, the pyramid begins to collapse as Rey falls down dead. The Resistance, thanks to Finn and Jannah, destroy the lead destroyer, taking out the communications relay as the Falcon rescues them. Below them, an injured Ben crawls from the pit, fighting the dead Rey. Using his force powers and life force, he gives his life to her, bringing her back to life. They share a kiss before Ben Solo dies, disappearing into the Force as Leia does as well. With the day one, Rey escapes the temple in Luke's X-Wing, reuniting with Poe and the Falcon as they head back to base. Across the galaxy, at places like Bespin and Endor, people are rising up against the First Order, destroying their ships and winning against them. Poe, Finn, and Rey all reunite at the base, sharing a hug as Chewbacca is finally gifted Han's medal by Maz Kanata. Sometime later, Rey pilots the Falcon to Tatooine, setting down outside the old rundown Lars homestead. After exploring a little, she buries Luke and Leia's lightsabers in the ground. An old woman comes by, asking who Rey is, and after seeing the Force ghosts of Luke and Leia, her surrogate parents, she tells the woman that she is Rey Skywalker. The twins' suns soon set as Rey and BB-8 watch them from the homestead. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker has a lot to do. It has to cap off a huge 9-film saga that spans over 40 years, as well as tie off the loose ends from the last 2 films and our new characters' story arcs. In that regard, it's admirable for J.J. Abrams to come back and shoulder that weight, since he does his best, but in a way ultimately fails to answer everything, which will definitely, and has already, angered some people. Lots of the mystery box stuff that J.J. set up in his first film is kind of shuttered away during The Last Jedi, or blatantly ignored. But which ones were looked at in that film, mainly the stuff with Snoke and where he came from and a little bit of the Luke stuff, caused this film to suffer in my opinion, since JJ has to kind of hand wave lots of it away with quick excuses like Snoke is a clone puppet for Palpatine. Palpatine as well isn't explained in how he came back either, he just kind of shows up. Before the movie that is as well, since his arrival is foretold in the opening crawl, so you don't even get to see his big return to the galaxy, which is a really big shame. The movie is non-stop, no holds barred, which at points is a detriment, since I would have appreciated moments where I could just stop, just sort of power down a little bit and take everything in, and while there's at least one of these moments, it's over in a split second and we're back to skiff chases and light speed skipping. So now that I've gotten the things I didn't particularly like about the film out of the way, let's talk about the stuff I did enjoy, beginning with the actors. Ian McDiarmid returns as Emperor Palpatine, and he's fantastic. He's deliciously evil as always, and a joy to watch as he just chews the scenery in the scenes he's in, and there's not many scenes that he's in. Adam Driver turns in an absolutely amazing performance as Kylo Ren and then as Ben Solo, 2 completely different characters. He really pulls out all the stops here and it shows. His role this movie wasn't really a verbal role, he didn't have a lot of lines, but he was very physical this time round, and it was great to see him get involved in some of the big action scenes. Daisy Ridley was pretty good, we got more of kind of the same Rey we got in the last 2 films. I loved once she learned her true heritage that there was kind of a turn in her character, which made her a little bit more vulnerable. I also liked her interaction with people like Poe Dameron. I enjoy that these 2 bicker like a married couple, and it's very reminiscent of Han and Leia from Empire Strikes Back. Speaking of Poe Dameron, Oscar Isaac's character truly shines this film with some really cool shit to actually do. He's actually in pretty much the whole film, and I'm happy about that since he's my favorite sequel trilogy character. John Boyega's Finn is fine. I wish he actually had something to do mainly with Jannah's character, since their bond as ex-stormtroopers could have led to something really cool with them maybe freeing First Order slaves, since that's mentioned throughout the film but nothing is ever done with it, and it would have been really great to see him actually do that and help others like how he was helped. He doesn't really do much except comically bicker with Poe and Rey. Carrie Fisher unfortunately passed during the film's production, so her Leia scenes are kind of wonky, since it's a combination of what she was able to shoot before her death plus CGI and repurposed deleted scenes from the previous films. So her scenes are very deliberate in which lines she has to deliver, because obviously they're repurposed deleted scenes. Most of the time she's just kind of standing stationary and characters approach her to talk to her, and there's even some shots where she's clearly a body double, which is kind of unfortunate since there's a scene where she's very clearly a body double and and I really wish they would have like shot that with her, since it's definitely not her and the scene is very important for the character, and it's just a shame that it couldn't have been Carrie shooting that scene. Mark Hamill has a few scenes and is great as the Force Ghost mentor to Rey, echoing a scene from The Empire Strikes Back. Harrison Ford also makes an appearance with Ben Solo, which is probably my favorite scene in the whole film. It's really well shot, and Adam does an absolutely great job in selling the scene, and even Ford gives a shit about the scene, which is a tough thing to get. The action was really great and nicely shot by Dan Mindel, again, especially the lightsaber fights with some great wire work there, especially the Death Star fight. Ben fighting the Knights of Ren was also really cool and had some really great sort of one-on-one fights with each of them. It was very quick but very great little fight. The space battles and upper atmosphere battles near the end of the film were also really nicely shot, and Poe flying around and doing all his things, really cool. The film, however, shines in its emotional moments, the highlight being a scene with Chewbacca after learning of someone's death, and it actually made me shed a tear, since Junior Suotamo actually sells that scene so damn well as Chewbacca. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker has many problems, which can be attributed to Disney and Lucasfilm not having a set-in-stone plan for this sequel trilogy and just kind of winging it as they went along, as well as letting writers and directors of the previous films kind of do what they want. However, J.J. Abrams at least attempts to give a satisfying conclusion and tie up the loose ends he can. Can't tie them all up, but the ones he does, I think he ties up in a really satisfying way. It will definitely be a big divisive film, probably mainly to people who really loved The Last Jedi, but it gets the job done in sort of capping everything off, and the things it didn't cap off I'm intrigued to see. If we get to see some of them in comics, novels, TV series, or even other films. I'm going to give The Rise of Skywalker a 7.5 out of 10.